Hi everyone, my name is Manish Sapkota and I moved to the UK this January from Nepal for my master's degree in MSc International Hospitality and Tourism Management from Cardiff Metropolitan University. I live in Cardiff. It's a beautiful place in the UK and it's a capital of Wales as well. Today I'm going to share my experience of a culture shock experience on academic environment, expectations which I was having, and on a social engagement. The purpose of this video is to reflect on my experience related to the culture shock and the ways it impacted my behavior and emotions. I will also discuss how I have adapted to the new environment and lesson learned from the culture shock. Culture shock experience, one of the most significant experience of a culture shock occurred in the academic environment. In my home country, students shows respect by listening quietly and avoiding disagreement with the teachers. However, in the UK, learning is discussion based and students are encouraged to question and challenge lecturer views. Another major culture shock came from the daily life social interactions. Back in my country, people are formal and reserved during their first meetings, while in the UK, casual conversations with a stranger in a public area are common. Initially, this friendliness feels superficial and I was unsure if it is reflected genuine interest or politeness. I was also surprised by the emphasis on the personal space and the privacy as neighbors rarely socialized. Coming from the collectivist culture with strong community ties, I feel isolated first. Over time, I realized that the independence reflects respect for others' boundaries, which helped me adapt my communications style and expectations. Reflections on adaptations, understanding science 3 level of culture, fact, values, and basic assumptions helped me interpret my experience. It allowed me to take an environment critically instead of just fitting in it. I realized that open discussions and the daily communications reflected deeper British values of equality, independence, and the curiosity. Visible things like language and the classroom setups were easy to see, but hidden values such as open communications and equality were less, like in a sense, iceberg model. I noticed that my comfort came from these culture layers, making the experience positive. My adaptations moved from changing behavior to changing thinking. I also learned culture relativism, the importance of avoiding judgment and seeing that no culture is better than other culture. Connecting my experience to the theory, my experience demonstrated Hofstede culture model, which defined culture as the collective aspect that differentiate member of one group from another. I understand that my initial culture shock arose from the constructing values, low power distance, and high individualism, or the UK assisted me in the understanding openness and the equality in the interactions between student and the lecturers. Using this model enabled me to interpret difference not as right or wrong, but as distinct expressions of a culture values. This awareness deepened my intercultural competence and helped me to adjust both behaviorally and cognitively to a new culture context by combining these concepts with overview curve. Moreover, connecting my experience with the overview curve, I moved from honeymoon stage feeling excited about new experience to the frustration stage where these differences created confusion and loneliness. Over time, through reflection and adaptation, I reached the adjustment stage, becoming more comfortable with the British ways of learning and interacting. By combining these concepts with the overview curve, I realized my transformation from these orientations to adaptation as one of the predictable processes. The lessons which I have learned and the advice from the culture shock which I have faced since I moved here in the UK has assisted me in transforming into a self-awareness and shaping my language and institution. I would advise that one should be open to the culture and listen properly before giving any judgment. This helps me in managing people and the market with the different cultures. At a professional level, an understanding of these dynamics is important for managing people and market in a various culture environment. It boosts leadership, global collaboration, and conflict resolution. Thank you. Have a good day.